Okay guys, for this learning activity we're going to look at a sample of a calendar month of sales, orders and count of customers that have walked through the door. We're going to do some simple statistical analysis of current customer base. So let's not waste any time, I'll share the screen. Let's calculate away. So we can see that this company, it's Pharmacy Tech. Now at the moment, let's assume we don't know whether it's B2C or B2B, but we'll be able to tell that from the order value. So let's look at the average order value first. So this one's going to equal simply your monthly sales divided by number of orders placed. So for January, this is 2020, so it's the calendar year. The average order value was $47.50. So although 3,020 customers we assume visited our stores, I'm not sure how they did a count of that, the monthly orders placed was only 2,000. Okay, so the average order value was $47.50. Now, rather than do that calculation individually for each row, we know that we want to look at the same column C and the same column D, and we want the row to change. So we just put our dollar sign in and lock it, and then we drag our formula down. So that's already interesting, right? 2020 impacted by COVID, but we can see, although there's some variation, really the average order value is going up. We can also see the numbers of orders placed is going up, and of course sales is going up. So we can assume that more people are visiting chemists, right, due to COVID, but of course that needs a bit more research. So what was the total sales or revenue for the calendar year? And we look that up and we get our figure, just over 1.2 million. So obviously in Excel, when you're doing a summary or a dashboard, because you'll do more of these, we really just, and managers in particular, we only want to see the output. So make sure that you do that. Make sure you format away decimal points, right? Nobody uses cents anymore. It's just, well, nobody uses money more anyway, let alone cents. Okay, so how many orders were placed in total? Again, okay, we got 25,040 orders placed in total. Now we could drag our formula across, but it's not too difficult at this stage. How many customers? The count of customers. Count all running total. 33,080. So the next thing we want to do, we want to calculate what the average order value is. Now there's a couple of different ways to do that. Let's firstly do it the long way. So the average order value. So we've got to do this in two parts. This is going to equal the sum of all of the 12 months average order values. That's the first part we get. But that's not enough, is it? Because we know that's not correct. So we've got to divide it by, now we'll be tricky here. We know it's only 12 months. However, if we didn't know how many rows, or this was a really large data set, perhaps it fell over more than one column, we wouldn't be able to do that. So count of every cell in which there's a figure. Right, so that's giving us $50, 1 lucky cent. That's the average order value. Now there's another way we could do that to calculate the average order value, and that's obviously to look at the mean. So the mean is just another way to say average. So here, we actually want to type in equals the average, and then we're going to highlight all of those cells with data in it. So what that's doing the same formula that I just did manually. It's counting the sum of all the average order values in 12 cells, and then it's dividing it by the number of entries, which is 12. That's giving us the same value. So the median, okay, if we look, we'll look later at how to do central tendency. So when we're looking at the spread of data, we can look at the average or the mean, we can look at the median, and we can look at the mode. So the median is the middle point. That means that there will be an equal amount of numbers before and after this value. That's the easiest way to explain it. And the median's really useful when you've got outliers. Okay, you've got a really low month or a really high month that might throw your average out. That's when we use the median. So equals the median. Highlight again. Okay, we can see the median's quite low. Okay, which suggests that we need to look further at that. So the average order value is 50 and the median's 45.58. So we obviously had a few good months and some worse months. Now let's look at the mode. The mode is when more than one of those figures occurs more than once. So at a glance here, if one of these figures occurs more than once, then that would be the most common number or mode. It doesn't look like it's happening. So yeah, we won't get a value. Okay, so that's a simple way to analyze a very small data set, looking at sales, orders, monthly count, and average order value. So you've got the link to this file, and you can ask me any questions in the masterclass, of course. And I'll see you in the next activity.